Hello, everyone. Hello, replay viewers. If you like this, you can give me hearts on the replay, and I appreciate that. And you can swipe and share this if you get something out of it and you think that some other people might benefit also. Today, I want to talk about the difference basically between, women and men, and how sometimes dogs don't always take women as seriously as they do men. And it has a lot to do with energy. And this is sort of like a touchy subject with a lot of women because, in our society, we want to be treated as equal, which, for humans, we should be treated equally. But dogs treat us, they see us in a more instinctual and natural way. And so, we definitely are different, and there's no denying it. But so I wrote some notes here. This actually is something that I kind of dealt with. I've always had a lot of dogs. And there were times in my life when the dogs did not take me seriously. And there was a definite difference between how they acted when it was me that was dealing with them and how they acted when, like, my husband or someone else was dealing with them. So let me see, what do I got here? Sometimes women tend to have a softer energy. We just, we're more feminine and we have different hormones, and our hormones are different, and dogs can definitely sense that. And it's not saying, this is not absolute, like, it's not saying that all women are softer energy and all men are, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying in general, sometimes women have a softer energy. And so it doesn't mean that you can't be assertive with your dogs and that your dogs won't listen to you, because they will. It just means you might have to be aware of your energy more, and you might have to make some changes, the way that you're acting. So the other thing is that dogs see every interaction that you have. So if you have kids, and I have kids, and, years ago, there would be times when the kids would be testing me. I would tell them to do something. They would, nope, I'm not doing it. And, it was like a power struggle. And the dogs see that. So dogs see every interaction that you have with other people and other dogs and other animals and everything. But that's where they're making their judgment on whether they should listen to you and follow you or not. And, there would be times when I would get really frustrated, and they would see the frustration and probably look at me and think, wow, I don't want to follow her. And so that's something that you have to be aware of, and you need to work on it. And let's see, what else? A lot of women tend to be more nurturing, and dogs see that too. Like if we're, if every dog that you see, you say, oh, it's so cute, and you want to share affection with it, that comes across as just a softer energy. That person has a softer energy. So the dogs see that as, you just having a softer energy. So just, again, be aware of it. Doesn't mean that your energy is bad. Just means you need to be really aware of it. And if you're having problems with your dog, you need to be extremely aware of it. So I ran into some major problems with my dogs as far as them fighting. And, I had to take an extremely assertive role to get that to stop. And so here are a few things that you might be able to try if, you're finding that the dogs don't seem to be taking you seriously. So, there's something that I saw pretty recently, actually. I didn't know this back when I was dealing with, all of our dog issues. There's a TED Talk that's about body language. So dogs see our body language, and the TED Talk, you should definitely look it up if you haven't seen it. It just talks about the way that we sit or stand, or there are certain postures that are what they call power posing. And they found that if you do the power posing, it actually increases your testosterone and it lowers cortisol, so stress hormones. And it makes you more confident. So they actually found that if you did this power posing for 2 minutes and then went to a job interview, even if you knew nothing about the subject of the job, those people were more likely to be hired. So the same could be said with dogs. If you hold yourself in a certain way and appear, powerful, your hormones are going to change. Things are going to change that you don't even know are changing. But that's what the dogs pick up on long before we ever, consider it. So that's one thing. The other thing is to just feel confident. Pack walk your dogs. So if you have more than one dog, learn how to walk all of them. I didn't used to be able to walk all my dogs. I would walk one at a time. I was afraid that if something happened out there, they might pull me down, or, maybe that I couldn't handle it. And I just had to take a really assertive, yep, I'm going to take them out there, and whatever we encounter, I'm going to handle it. So that is part of the other thing. That definitely walking my 3 dogs and protecting them from other things on the outside world. So the neighborhood that we lived in had a lot of off-leash dogs, and they would come up to us. And I had to be ready and prepared before the dogs approached to protect my dogs. So, my dogs didn't feel a need to protect me. That is main, that's so important, especially if you have a dog that's like dog reactive, or, reacts when it's on leash. If it's barking at other dogs or people, it's protecting you. You need to take the protective role so the dog doesn't. So some ways that you can do that is to, as a woman, you could wear boots. You can carry a pet convincer, which is it's compressed air, and you can spray that at like an off-leash dog or something that comes up at you. Your dogs will see that, will see you protecting them, and then be more likely to respect you. They will respect you as their leader because you're taking care of business. Hello, Elias. How are you? We're just talking about the difference between men and women, and I went into a lot of it before you got on here, so you might want to catch the replay. So the other thing that you can do is carry the pet convincer. You can carry mace, and if you have to use it, I would reserve that for, a dog actually attacking. I wouldn't mace a dog just for coming up. But the pet convincer is good because it doesn't hurt them, but it will scare most off-leash dogs away. And you learn how to put your dogs behind you and step forward and command that dog to get the heck out of here. And your dogs see that, and then they will start respecting you more. And things will change at home too. You could carry a stick, like a big walking stick, which you can actually use to just kind of make like a circle around you and your dogs so that the other dogs can't come up. Even if they're coming up just to sniff your dogs, don't allow that. You don't want any dogs sniffing your dogs. It can make your dogs, because they're on leash, it can make them really uncomfortable just to have, even if they're friendly energy coming up and trying to sniff your dogs, keep them away. I know a lot of the people that are doing periscopes and stuff, if you have a selfie stick, that works extend it, and you can use it just like a walking stick or something to keep other dogs away. I've carried an air horn before. If I didn't have the pet convincer, I would carry that. That, if you're ever like attacked or anything, it will alert people in the area to help you. But just having it with you makes you feel more confident. And some people carry a gun. They're actually in my area here. There was an older man that was walking his dogs off leash in the woods, and they were attacked by a rabid fox. And the fox came and actually attacked the man 3 times. It attacked him twice, and then he went back to his house, got his gun, and went back in the woods and ended up, shooting the fox after the 3rd attack. So, if carrying a gun makes you feel more, so whatever makes you feel empowered, do it. And walk your dogs, walk all of them, feel powerful, show them that you are protecting them, and they will start looking at you in a different way. I know that's one of the big things that helped me to finally get control of my dogs. Sometimes tools can help you to get more respect without a huge change in your energy. So one little story that I have, a friend of mine, she has a friend who has had pit bulls in the past, and her pit bulls never listened to her. They always listened to her husband, and they were well behaved, but basically they would only listen when he was around. And the woman ended up getting divorced from that man, marrying someone else who liked to have labs. And they got a lab that was completely out of control. The new husband didn't know that much about, dogs and dog training, and he didn't have control of the dog, and she didn't have any control of the dog. They ended up sending the dog to a board and train while they were on vacation because the person that they left the dog with was like, you need to do something. This dog is crazy. I'm not keeping it. They took the dog to a board and train, and this woman didn't approve of e-collars before this, but she did the board and train with the dog, and then the dog was e-collar trained. And she said, it makes such a big difference. Like, dogs that never would have listened to me before, now the dog listens to me. And now I have, there's more consistency, and she doesn't feel so frustrated and, controlled by her dogs, basically. So sometimes tools can help you. They can, if you use a prong collar to walk your dogs, you might feel safer that the dog is not going to pull you over. If you're walking a big dog, that's a huge concern for, a small person. A big dog could easily pull you over. So if you have the right tools on your dog, it reduces the chances of getting knocked over or something and makes you feel more empowered. And then you're going to walk your dogs and you're going to feel empowered, and they're going to view you as their leader. And then other problems can stop too through that. So that's all I've got today. Does anybody have any questions or things that they want to share as far as, the difference between the way that dogs treat men and women? And I'm not saying all the time, this is not always, but it is something that you have to be aware of your energy, and you have to be assertive, and I think even more so for women to get the respect of the dogs. So I hope that this can help some people, and I guess I will see you guys tomorrow.